Hey, what's up, guys? So today I have for you some test hands with Shaddoll, branded Shaddolls. Sorry about the camera quality. I'm using my webcam instead of my normal camera because I can't really set it up on my desk. It's weird. Um, but if you already seen the video of the deck profile, then you know what mostly these cards do. I believe that they were pretty legible. Um, but the deck can pretty much grind out your opponent a little bit, and you can actually end up playing on their turn, trying to bait out some stuff. So really, this deck is really strong with getting an established construct and having it in cycle, um, or even having your Mirror Jade out to try to interrupt your opponent and get some things off the board that way. Um, but yeah, I think it's best to just jump into just doing some test hands because there's not really good setup. Like if you have Branded Fusion, you can use it and then dump things out. Like that's kind of your one of your starter cards that you would end up getting. But this deck is really super budget. It's awesome. You can pick it up. It's if you have three of the Albaz Strike structure deck, you already have half the deck. Um, if you have some old Shadolls that you're not sure that you're going to use them or if you're going to trade them away, you can throw them into a deck like this, and it's actually compatible or competitive. Like I've beaten Tier Limits, I've beaten Flu, I think once maybe. I've beaten Dragon Link. It's a really decent deck. It's really good for its budget and what it's worth. So, and also another thing too is that none of these cards I don't think are going to get hit on any ban list because they're just too specific for their own archetype. So, just go ahead and do a test hand. So this is usually a dead card. The trap cards are usually a dead card. But let's see what else we can get. Okay, we got a Squamata. That's fine. Super Poly's good. Debate. An Albaz. Okay, interesting. And a Windy. Okay. So what we can do is honestly we could probably do a normal summon of Squamata and then just set our Super Poly and our Resh. Okay. Now we have these two in hand, so if they establish a board, we do have Fallen Albaz to use, and we do have discard for it. So, let's say it's their turn. They're most likely going to have a dark. That's just what's played a lot. Obviously, pay attention to what kind of tributes they're going to have, since you have a super poly, and use it on probably very strong things like Baron. Let's say that they have a Baron out. That's a wind. So you have your I main deck the wind one, wherever it went. Wendigo, I think it is. Where'd it go? Yeah, Wendigo. So I main deck Wendigo for Baron specifically because I know that that card can be a really big pain and they can't actually interact with Super Poly. So, um, let's say it's during their turn. They play something like a dark or something like that. It's decently strong. Go ahead and use your Super Poly, use your Squamata, and then their card. You also have to discard for Super Poly, so we're going to go ahead and discard our Wendy. Now that is its cost, so Wendy will not get its effect. Um, and then we're going to get out our window. I'm going to put that in our EMZ. Okay. If they have a light, um, I would try to target the light first, uh, and use that instead. But obviously, it's everything situational with this deck. It's kind of hard to kind of show really good like how this deck can play because I'm not really playing against anything. I'm just doing test hands. So we have our Squamata effect. We're going to go ahead and actually use it. So we're going to dump our Shaddoll fusion. Okay. The reason why we're dumping Shaddoll fusion is let's say Winda is out on the field. They can't out it. They only have one special summon, so they use their special summon, and they can't get around Winda. Even if they do, we do have our Resh, but we're not going to use that yet. We can use it on our turn during their end phase to get something back. There's not really getting anything good in our graveyard. So let's go ahead and do one more draw and see what else we can do with it. Okay, Schism. All right, whatever. Um, so since this is in our EMZ, we're gonna go ahead and actually use our gravity controller. Okay. So our gravity controller is out there. Um, Now we can use window effect to add back our Shaddoll fusion. Most likely they're probably going to have something from the extra deck. So let's go ahead and use Shaddoll Fusion. Okay. So our only light targets in here are Dogmatica. So we're going to actually use Ecclesia. And then we use any Shaddoll monster we want. So since we have a Resh set, what we're going to do is we're going to send Wendy. Okay. So that's a light and a Shaddoll for our construct. Wherever our constructs went. There we go. There's one. Construct. Okay. So now we have chain link 1, chain link 2. Okay. So chain link 2 is going to go off. We're going to set something. So we can set a aerial. Okay. If you know basic Shaddoll combos, that's a basic Shaddoll combo to set aerial off of Wendy all the time. But then constructs effect we're going to dump. So let's go ahead and send, depending on what they have on the board, we can even send Genesis for our negate. But instead, I think what we're going to do is our hand's looking a little interesting. We can't really send Schism, so let's go ahead and just send we can do our L Shaddoll Fusion. That way we have that in cycle. So we're not locked under any fusion or anything like that, but at this point, what I would do is if they have no back row set, I would actually use our Albaz, right? Uh, However, since this is only a test hand, we're just gonna leave it in our hand for now. Um, I would actually proceed to battle phase, and I would actually go construct and attack something into something. Um, and then during our main phase two, uh, I will activate Resh, and I'll actually special summon Winda out in defense. So that way we have that there, and then we can set our Schism. So we have a light in our graveyard, so now we have a target for our Schism. Uh, if we go back to their turn, then we can actually use our Schism and then play off of that. So decent hand, decent hand. See, that's where the grind kind of comes from. You get an established graveyard. Hopefully, they don't have Ishizus that can spin stuff back, because that definitely does hurt this deck. Because you do need some things from your graveyard. But uh, if they end up spinning too much back, and you still have targets, like we kind of actually did still have targets, then that's fine. So, all right, let's do another one, and then we'll do another one after that. Hopefully, with a brand of fusion somewhere in there, so that way we can make some decent plays here. So, it's gonna give us a little bit of a good cut here. Alrighty. Alright. One, Dogmatica, Wendy. Okay, two Ecclesia is not the best. Not the best, I'm not gonna lie. Decent, we have Interruption and a Super Poly. So, I would actually set Super Poly, normal summon Wendy, and then play off of them. So if they have something, we can DD Crow it. That's gonna interrupt our graveyard. Super Poly, use Wendy and whatever. Say it's Wendy in a dark. Get a window, right? We use Wendy's effect. We'll set Squamata this time. Since we don't have any Reshes and we can't really get any Reshes into the graveyard, there's no point into setting Aerial here, so that's what I would do there. So at least we did draw a fusion card there. If we didn't draw a fusion card, that hand would actually been probably one of the worst hands this deck could offer. Even if you had a Fallen Albaz, it would have been better. So our turn. So we're gonna go ahead and draw again. That's kind of good. However, we do need to get this off the board. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and actually send it, because we have to send it first. So get that. We don't get this effect, the effect to add back, because we don't have anything in our hand or in our graveyard. We can actually special summon out Ecclesia, because I think it's anything uh, is on the field. Yeah, even if it's on their field, you can actually special summon this out. And we're gonna get our effect with that. We're gonna add our Florless. If we need to get something negated, then we would special summon out Florless. But we're just gonna leave it in our hand for now. That way we can just get that in our hand. So we now have an eruption. So let's go ahead and branded fusion. So we're going to use Fauna Albaz. We use anything dark, so we're going to go ahead and use Hedgehog here. So we're probably going to be going in through that deck here in a second. We're going to go into Lubellion. Okay. So now we have Lubellion's effect, and then we have a Hedgehog's effect. So we're going to do Chain Link 1 and then Chain Link 2. And then we'll have to discard as cost. So we're actually going to discard our other Ecclesia because we don't need it. And then we're going to add to our hand a Shaddoll monster. We can add like Beast, or we can add like Dragon, because we can probably use some things from our hand here eventually. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to add... I think we can actually add Squamata, because that gives us more options down the line to like dump extra things if this gets sent to the graveyard by card effect. So, and then we're going to use Lubellion's effect. So, the best option here would probably be to use these two, because it would give us our Mirror Jade. So this actually goes back to the deck. Now this is under a perfect world, hopefully that your Fallen Albaz doesn't get sent back to the deck by an Ishizu, or if it gets bestialed. I think you can use Lubellion even if it's banished. It's probably going to get shuffled back, which happens to me all the time. So, Mirror Jade. Okay. So this is in our hand. This is here. It's already in the graveyard. Now, we can... That was set last turn, so we can actually flip summon this. If I'm not mistaken, destroy something on the field, and then we have Mirror Jade banished. So, decent overall grind. So, this deck can play turn 2 very well. Obviously, there are some like weaknesses, like I think Fluandereeze is actually a weakness to this deck, just because they use their banish a lot, and they can actually banish. I think sometimes they can banish some of your stuff, depending if they have like D-Fissure or something like that. But you definitely need your graveyard. So let's go and do one more tiny little test hand here. All right, let's see. Good, good, mid, mid. Okay, that made it worse. All right, anyway. So this hand, I'm going to just go ahead and Shaddoll Fusion these two away. We're going to get our Wendy. Where Wendy went. Or Window. Just go ahead and special summon out Window on our EMZ. And that's honestly it. We can set our Aerial if we want, but there's no point because we have nothing banished. And we have a hand trap. So their turn. They're locked under Window. It's hard for them to out. We DD Crow something. Alright, next turn. Ecclesia. Decent. What we can do here is we can actually send this for our gravity controller. Use this effect to add back our Shaddoll Fusion. We're going to special summon this out first. You want to do all this extra stuff first before using your fusion card right now, because you want to bait out some negates, or they have to use something. So let's do Ecclesia. And then we're going to get our Florless. And then we can special summon out Florless, using its effect to negate something. So they have to deal with this first. Okay. So let's say we get all of that out, right? They still have an extra deck monster out. Let's use El Shaddoll Fusion. We can fuse from the deck now. So let's go ahead and use Wendy, and then we can use something like a Hedgehog, or sorry, we actually can't use a Hedgehog. We have to use a light. These are last Ecclesia. So Ecclesia. Okay. There we go. So give that a little bit of a shuffle. Probably didn't really need to. Was kind of like doing that. It's just a habit of mine. Then we have construct. We're gonna chain link 1 and then chain link 2. So chain link 2, we're gonna special. Let's get in special out Aerial, which is most of the time what you're gonna want to do with this deck. Oh wait, we already went through our aerials. All right, well we can just do like you just do a hedgehog. So Hedgehog's a flip effect. You can add one Shaddoll Spark Trap from the deck to your hand. So we're actually going to set that. And then we're going to use Construct's effect. We're going to send a Resh. Okay. So now we can actually use Resh's effect. We're going to banish itself, and then we can do like Dragon or Aerial. Just do our Aerial here. To flip this up, it's base up defense, and then use its effect to add to hand our graveyard. If we want to play during their turn, we can use Schism. Because now I think we actually have a good amount of damage that we can try to put through, and we have a construct out. But since we can go even further, we're actually going to do this. We're going to add our, I think I passed it like a few times. Okay, El Shaddoll Fusion. Because then we can actually use El Shaddoll Fusion, use construct this, or really it would be these two, or even these two for another construct. So let's actually use it, right? Fusion some of these. We actually make another construct, so now we have 2 constructs out. I don't think we used Hedgehog yet this turn, so we're going to go ahead and do Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. Because these are on once per turn, we're going to go ahead and add, we can add like Sugimata if we want. I think that would actually be the best option for us here. There's 2 cards here. And then effect dump, so we can do Schism, right? That way we have it in cycle. Oh wait, actually, we can't use that Hedgehog's effect because we already used this flipped effect, so we just have our Aerial in our hand. This is still a decent board. Still pretty good, because you can use these to destroy special summon monsters. And then you have a Dogmatica, but you can't get its attack buff, but yeah. Let's try to do one more hand. This time I'm actually gonna put a branded spell in my hand, just to show what the deck can do. And then all the other ones would be different. So I'm gonna give this a little bit of a shuffle. Really kind of cut this up. All right, so we drew in our branded fusion. Yeah, cool. That's what we need. El Shaddoll Fusion. That's still good. Fallen Albaz. I hope we don't see another one. Ecclesia. Okay, that's good. And the Squad. All right, perfect. So, we're gonna go ahead and use branded fusion. So we are going to use our on Albaz, and then you have 2 options. You can either do a beast for the extra draw, or you can do our hedgehog if you want to get a Shaddoll monster in your hand. With this one, I think we could probably use hedgehog way more than what we could beast. We could just save beast for later. So we're gonna add to our hand. Oh wait, sorry. Okay, so those two are sent. We're gonna get a Rebellion out. All right, so we're going to chain link one, chain link two, add to our hand. I think we added Squatter, right? Yeah. Wait, yeah, that's what we added. Okay. I had to backtrack there for a second. And then use our discard. So we're going to discard for cost. We actually, the smart play here would be to discard our Fauna Albaz. The reason why we would do that is if um, they have a Bestial, they're going to probably spin that. I don't think that really matters with the Bellion because you can use the Banished anyway. But if they end up having DD Crow or Called By, um, they would probably target this Albaz, but now you have another one, so that way they have to deal with that. So discard is cost. We already added our card. Now we can fusion someone. We do have options here since we have our El Shaddoll fusion. We can do our Shaddoll fusion, but we'll actually just use our Fallen Albaz and our Rebellion, right? For a Mirror Jade. So these go back to their respective areas. Now we're probably going to have to use our whole hand, which is fine for this one. So we're going to actually use El Shaddoll Fusion. We're going to use these two for our construct. Okay, construct. So we're going to do chain link one, chain link two. So we have two dumps with our effects. So we should actually put this in the AMZ. We can't use our gravity controller this turn because we use Lubellion, which locks us into only fusions. So we can do Beast off of Squamato if we want to get an extra draw if we want to keep going. However, usually the smarter play is to use like a Shaddoll fusion, and then we're going to um, dump our Schism. Okay. So if this goes to the graveyard somehow, then we can add our Schism back. Um, it would be nice to end on a turn uh with a Shaddoll fusion in hand because we can actually use that to get a Windy out or Winda out. Um, but those are the best ones that we can have some in our rotation. So if we need them, we need them. So now it'll be their turn. Use Mary Jade's effect. Send from our whatever construct, all that stuff. So let's say they can't out this. Let's say it's hard for them to do. So leave them, right? Draw monster. Eh. Now we can send that with our gravity controller, but this deck really just helps grind a lot of the time. So um, you don't really want to play into everything that they have because you don't really have a lot of interaction with exactly what they're going to play all the time. There's some control decks out there that have a lot of interaction like that, like trap decks and all that stuff. But this one kind of plays off what your opponent does a little bit. Uh, but you want to basically establish some kind of board and then just beat through battle phase. So um, during the battle phase. So yeah, construct's really hard for a lot of people to deal with too, just because it can destroy problematic cards just without question. Um, yeah, so let me know of anything that you want to see specifically. If you are unsure about something, you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Um, I hope this helped a lot with trying to figure out what to do with the deck. Uh, it's just a matter of kind of grinding and playing with it. Not grinding specifically by forcing yourself to do it, but by like it's just a grind deck. It's just what it does. It just helps you play. You have to just use it to play. So um, yeah, let me know anything else that you want to know about the deck in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.